Alright, let's dive into something that's got the education world buzzing. The University of Michigan's decision to switch to a pass/fail grading system for first semester students. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me ask you this. What if the way we grade students is actually part of the problem when it comes to their mental health? Personally, I think this move by Michigan is more than just a policy change. It's a bold statement about the kind of academic culture we want to foster. And honestly, it's about time we had this conversation. Here's the deal. Michigan is piloting this pass/fail system specifically for first-year students in the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. The goal? To ease the transition from high school to college and reduce the stress that comes with it. What makes this really interesting is the timing. It comes on the heels of a national study showing a slight decline in depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation among college students. Now, I'm not saying pass/fail grades are the magic bullet, but it's clear that universities are scrambling to address this mental health crisis. And Michigan's approach is one of the more innovative ones I've seen. From my perspective, the traditional grading system can feel like a high-stakes game, where every point matters. But what if that's exactly the problem? Michigan's Dean, Rosario Ceballo, argues that this new system could help students focus on intrinsic motivation rather than competition. And honestly, that resonates with me. When I was in college, the pressure to get straight A's often overshadowed my actual passion for learning. So I get why they're trying this. It's about shifting the focus from grades to growth. But here's where it gets complicated. Critics, like former Michigan professor Kenneth Lowend, argue that dropping grades for one semester doesn't solve the bigger issue of grade inflation or the declining value of academic achievement. And he's got a point. If grades have already lost their meaning, does it really matter if we replace them with pass/fail for a few months? What this really suggests is that the problem runs deeper than just the grading system. It's about how we define success in education. What many people don't realize is that Michigan isn't alone in this. Schools like MIT and Caltech have similar initiatives. But what's striking is the contrast with places like Harvard, where faculty are actually capping grades to combat grade inflation. It's like the academic world is split between two extremes. One side wants to ease the pressure, and the other wants to raise the bar. If you take a step back and think about it, this tension reflects a broader debate about what education should prioritize: mental well-being or academic rigor. One thing that immediately stands out is the connection to the STEM crisis. Professors at UC Berkeley are complaining that students are entering calculus classes with severe preparation deficits. Meanwhile, Michigan is trying to give students a smooth on-ramp into college. But here's the irony. What if the very system meant to support students is actually undermining their readiness for advanced fields? This raises a deeper question. Are we sacrificing long-term academic preparedness for short-term mental health gains? In my opinion, the pass/fail system could be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it might reduce stress for first-year students. On the other, it could create a false sense of security, only to slam them with traditional grades later on. A detail I find fascinating is that this pilot program is only for one semester. What happens after that? Do students suddenly snap back into the competitive mindset? Or does this brief reprieve set them up for a healthier academic journey? Here's my takeaway. Michigan's experiment is a bold step, but it's just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Personally, I think the real challenge isn't just about grading. It's about redefining what success looks like in education. Are we preparing students to thrive in a competitive world? Or are we helping them develop a love for learning? And can we do both? I don't have the answers, but I'm excited to see how this plays out. What do you think? Is pass/fail the way forward? Or is it just a band-aid on a bigger problem? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.